If you think the Onua and Tahu sets are big, a slightly larger box is the combination set between Kopaka and Melum, the creature of ice. Now, for the time being, this is the only creature I'm planning to cover, and that's because it comes in a combo with Kopaka. Normally, if they came separately, I would not be buying Melum. But the Kopaka and Melum Unity set is 171 pieces, set number 71311. Let's bust it open. Okay, holy cow, a lot of really interesting pieces in this. We have some of these two large armors in navy blue. It's the only two pieces in the set that come in navy blue, so I'm not a big fan of that. I would have preferred them either in gray or silver or gold or trans blue or white. Something like that. I mean, even silver would be a little bit better, because at least then it would go with the weapons and the mask and the Vorox pieces and these Unity armors, but having dark blue is definitely a standout, and that's why I wanted to cover this piece first. It doesn't go with the color scheme, but that's okay. We'll see how it looks later on. We have two silver Vorox armors used for the shoulder. These are fairly common pieces in this wave. I'm actually really surprised they didn't come in Onua. They come with Onua. If I can stop dropping them. We have two of these interesting, like, longhorn bull pieces, and these are used in the primary weapon, the Ice Blade. I think these would be kind of cool to have as mock parts if you want to have a bull, or if you maybe want to give Skull Basher some more realistic horns. So mockers, keep that in mind. We have one of these little fang blade pieces used in Melum's horn. And Melum has a... I'm a klutz today, wow. Okay, Melum has a nice head mold. That looks pretty nice. I will admit it has a nice mold to it. You know, gold and the blue melds really well. He's got kind of like this little rhino horn almost. It's kind of interesting. If I'm looking at the instructions, right? Yeah, I'm cool. It goes right on the front like that. I don't think that's even necessary. I think you could just take that off. That's my opinion, though. But it's a really specific piece, so if you're not planning on using this for the intended piece of the combo model, it's kind of unnecessary. And from what I've seen from the picture, it seems like all of the creatures have this exact same mold, just in different colors, so that's kind of weird. Like I said with Onua, they have this piece for Kopaka, but they only use one of these, and they use an extra long plate for the other half of the shield, and this is kind of a nice little shield, assuming they connect 100% perfectly like that. That's a nice shield, and I thought it was just two of these, so I'm glad it's not short like that, because that was kind of a wimpy shield. That's a good size shield, though not nearly as cool as the shield that we had in 2015's Kopaka. However, it does come with stickers, and the stickers match the chest print, so I will put these on very carefully. But stickers, interesting. And the print on the stickers matches the new chest armor with the pistons, everything. It's got a really nice print. It has a little bit of what looks like light green and the navy, so I guess there's the connection. We have the Kopaka Nuva symbol in the middle of the chest, a good throwback there. The two blades, which are the crystal blades that we are seeing, that are the new pieces for this set, we have two of them, and these are the exact same colors as the Gali Uniter of Water blade. It's the same exact color blue. Not that I'm complaining, I like the color, and I think that it looks really good as an ice weapon. It could be really neat. We have four of these crystal arbors, gold with trans blue at the top. I think it looks really good. Definitely an improvement over Onua's gold with trans clear. It looks really good. We have a stud launcher in light blue, so if you didn't get enough light blue stud launchers from the Skull Grinder versus Mask Maker set, now you have another one. This is used as a gun that attaches to the shield, which is kind of an interesting concept. Haven't really seen a blaster on an Ice Toa since the original series with Mataro, both forms of Mataro and Kopaka, but they were used primarily as other weapons, not as as an add-on to a shield. So I'm not sure how I feel about that. We have a couple white Borak eyes. That's pretty neat. A silver spear that just goes with the primary weapon. One of these tri-connector pieces, that's really cool. We got one of these with Gali, Master of Water. I'm glad to see this piece is back. We got some of these hook fang pieces. They have a connector. And I believe these are just used for Melum on his little claws and his feet. They're cute little pieces. And they have good mock potential if you wanted to attach them to various things. And of course, the new eye stalk with the shorter stack, as you can see on a standard skull, it is a lot shorter and a lot better in many people's opinions. We have of course, the new masks. I think it looks good in both white plus silver and gold plus trans blue. Definitely reminiscent of Kopaka Nuva, as well as a little bit of Nuju. I'm definitely seeing a trend of the masks resembling kind of a fusion of the Nuvas, the Nuva masks with the Toa Metru masks. So I'm hoping they continue that trend because that's really cool. We have 4 pieces of Unity. Again, I don't even really think the piece is that big of a deal. I mean, they do look a lot like the original series armor, and I do kind of like that throwback, but I don't know, these pieces I think are not nearly as big of a deal as LEGO makes them out to be. They're like, oh, it's amazing. New torso armor that we've seen a million times. Plug it in. This one doesn't squeak. For some reason, the Gali one I have squeaks a lot, but Onua's doesn't, and hopefully the Kopaka one won't either, so let's get to building. Okay, so like I mentioned before, I don't really have that much interest in Melum, so here's Melum. He has kind of a really complicated build for such a little guy. The torso piece is kind of a weak, wobbly bit, so I don't think that holds together very well, but that's my opinion of it. He's got these 2 large shoulder bits that Pohatu uses, but sorry, not Pohatu, that the 2015 Kopaka used, but these are in white instead of gold. They have the crystal armor bits and those little blue claw pieces I mentioned before attached, and they attach simply on the ball joints of these little arms, these little tiny arms, and then the giant Melum headpiece attaches on the front. And you can adjust the head however you want, obviously, because it's on a double ball joint. I'm choosing to put the claws like that for now, and then it has a little gear function, which is kind of cool, actually, by lifting the tail here, which I don't know why it uses one of these the Gali trident pieces, but I guess for some reason they want to make a little lever. It has a little tail. He stretches and unstretches his arms. He brings them back and goes in for a claw attack, I guess. I get why they included it. I just don't think it's really that big of a deal of a set piece. I mean, it kind of looks kind of cute, but even the 2 minutes I've spent talking about Melum very briefly, I think is more than this little piece deserves. It's kind of cute and all, but other than just being kind of a cute little dinosaur mole thing, I don't really think it's all that special. Just my opinion, though. I wish I was exaggerating when I said Kopaka had really square shoulders, but as you can see, he has really square shoulders that fold up perfectly against his torso. In order to get them off at all, you have to, well, angle it like that, or like that. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of these shoulders. The design is kind of neat, but I'm not a big fan of it. And I fear that that's how it's going to go with Leo and Pohatu. And I do like the build of the actual upper arms, but I have seen issues with the upper arms here because they attach. Well, they don't really attach all that great. In fact, the only thing holding this arm on is a single red peg. It attaches like that. So it's not a very secure build, and I kind of want to see someone come up with a modifier that maybe has like a bar going across the front, because it'd only have to be 1, 2, 3, yeah, 5 long. It'd have to be 5 long, but you can have some kind of a bar holding these two together, because I'm worried that over time these will stretch out and just ruin the joint, because it's just not a very secure build. Like, I thought Onoa wasn't very secure, but he had those lifts on his arms, and Kopaka doesn't have those. Instead, he has just kind of this little piece of armor on the back. Speaking of armor, the only armor I already included on him was he has 2 pieces of Unity as his shins, and they don't just pop on. They actually have a little piece on the back holding them, though I really think these should have been done in either silver or blue, because having the light gray kind of breaks up the color scheme from the back. But yeah, so that's kind of interesting that he uses those as armor. Tahu also uses these, but in gold. So for the build, we use the crystal armor on large white plates on the knees. Boop, boop. We have 2 large plates here on the upper arms. Oh, an interesting thing is he has these 2 stud connections on the upper arms, but it's never actually specified what they're used for. They just kind of attach for no reason, really. It's kind of bizarre. I kind of wish they had come up with a reason of why they have that. Maybe even as just like, oh, it's a place to put bonus studs if you have extra studs or something. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, so far it doesn't squeak, which I like the not squeaking, because my Golly, if you saw the Golly video, Golly squeaks a lot. We have our shoulder armor, we have the Vorok's armor with a Borok tooth attached. And I actually really like the design of this. I like the design of this, because that looks pretty good, and it has a nice silhouette, though I really wish not as much of the arm here was exposed. We'll attach the torso bit, and that kind of closes up because of the white bits on the back, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of the shoulder upper arm that's exposed, and I'm not as big of a fan of that look. Golly and Onoa go a more traditional ball and socket route, and this is just kind of a design that, though it doesn't look bad, I prefer the older look. That's just my opinion, though. Similar to Onoa, we have one of these little assemblies with an extra little cartridge of ammo using the blue studs, and this plugs in right on the back of the calf. This one doesn't turn, though. But yeah, it's kind of interesting, especially considering that I keep saying Pohatu, I'm sorry. Kopaka's gun is going to be in his right hand, and yet it's on his left side, so he has to put down his blade to grab ammo to refill his gun, which is kind of bizarre. Speaking of his gun, here's the gun. It's kind of a standard stud shooter. Definitely looks like the kind he would have gotten from Protector of Ice, though it has an upgrade. He holds that fairly comfortably in his hand. Doesn't look too out of proportion there, but he has this shield. And the shield, I think, is great, as I mentioned before, and the shield plugs in right in the back of the gun. And I wasn't too thrilled about this shield because I thought it was a lot smaller, but then I saw this larger shield piece, and I got really thrilled about it. And it can be difficult to put his arm in some positions because of the nature of the ball joint, but if you really want, you could go for kind of a, oops, I tilted him a little too much. You can kind of go for a, like a riot shield kind of look. That's kind of cool. You can have a riot shield. You can go for a shoot. I really think it'd be better if he had a gun in one hand and a shield in another, but I guess you roll with what you have. But it's a very nice shield, and I definitely think LEGO did the best they could with a combo shield gun weapon. I would maybe try to do it a little bit differently, but I think it looks good. And here's the blade, which looks marvelous, by the way, and they use a system piece, a system cone right there to kind of fill in that space. And the horns look good, but plug that in there, and put on the silver and white mask. There we have it. There we have So I personally prefer the look of having the blade up and having it at the shield at an angle, so it looks like he's trying to block incoming fire or incoming attacks, and he can go in and swing the blade. And as you notice, he doesn't have a squeak. Golly has a squeak, so I'm going to have to try to loosen that joint up on her a little bit. But yeah, nice swing motion. At the same time, you can have your blade down and have the gun out and go as a sweeping motion. You just go across the room. It's really, really up to you. The sweeping motion goes really well with Kopaka, though you have to be careful. You have to hold the torso when you angle these shoulders, because again, I'm not too happy with these shoulder joints. They're not as tight as I want them to be, or not as secure as I want them to be. But I think this is a very nice looking set. My only real complaint is it has the gold and trans, and the rest of Kopaka is white and silver, so this mask goes great, but the crystal armor pieces don't match. However, if you switch it to the gold and trans blue mask, well, the trans blue goes with the trans blue of his arms, his gun, the crystal armor, and his calves, and the gold goes with the crystal pieces. But surprisingly enough, those three pieces are the only gold on Kopaka. If you want more gold, you have to attach Melum. Now I'm going to very briefly do the Melum combo. I'm not a big fan of the combo, but I'm just folding Melum's legs back, and he attaches using the piece of unity, piece de resistance, and that makes him really back heavy. You'll notice as soon as you do it. But I guess the idea is that Melum attaches and uses his kind of claws as new shoulder pads, and then his mask just hangs over. But I don't think that looks good. I mean, he has little feet dangling off his back, and he's got this tail dangling off his back, and these shoulders are even more ridiculous than the 2015 Onua combo model, and I don't like this mask. I don't like it at all. I mean, it blends better than some of the other combo model masks, but I don't think it looks all that great. I prefer the white mask more. And keep in mind that if you have Melum on here, his action value would be going. I mean, literally, this is his action value. Is if you wanted to have the combo model, it's like, okay, you have a combo. What's his action? Oh, he adds on and takes off shoulder pads. Okay. So I guess he can go back and forth between having more armor and less armor. That's not really a function. You basically have to disable the function of Melum in order to use him for the combo. And I don't like that, because I'm not a big fan of Melum. But I love, love, love Kopaka. I think regardless of which mask you use, he is a great set. The shield blew my expectations out of the water. The blade looks a lot cooler in person than it does in the pictures. And so overall, I think this is a really good set, and definitely worth picking him up if you just want Kopaka. If you also want Melum, then definitely get it, but if you just want Kopaka, it's definitely worth your money, and then you'll have a few extra pieces for your mock bin. Until next time, I'm Metagross Freak, and have a good one.